Hey guys, give me a 5 for 5 and we'll roll right on through. Hey Miss V, Hilly got the cookie. Butterfly, hey, that wrench looks good on you. Look good in blue there. What's happening? Hey Spindy, Stephanie. Guys, I'm going to be answering. Hey Linda, good to see you. Sweet. Carol made it. Heck yeah. All right. Hey guys, I'm going to be talking about a few questions that I had also. But we've had this big blast also here on Mercury. And but before we get to that, I do want to say please share this out. Just going to say that. Hit like, share, subscribe, all that crap. And yeah, the super chats are there. Never expected, but appreciated. I'm just going to stop there. So, also I'm going to be doing all the space weather stuff first. I got squirreled really bad in the last live stream, but the reason why I kind of threw it together really quick because of that big eruption, and I had to be somewhere after that, and I am feeling better. So anyway, here we go. So what do we got here? Well, we got this big old eruption. It's the same eruption I showed you guys yesterday, but it's definitely going to hit Mercury. It may have already hit. I don't know yet. But this is something that this is actually a question that one of you guys had. I can't remember who asked it, but I did leave a pretty lengthy explanation too. And I'm also going to clarify, guys, the difference between SOHO and SDO and how they orbit. There's a lot of things that I kind of skip over because I don't want to say it every live stream, but there is some confusion on how SDO works. So I do want to kind of clarify that so you guys know, where that satellite is located and why it can always see the sun even though it's rotating to the night side of the planet. So we'll go over that a little bit too. But yeah, so this was a very large eruption. I got some more imaging than what I had yesterday. So let me, I'm going to back that off just a little bit more. And so what I'll do here is I'll just grab the scroll bar here, okay? So you guys, I went over this yesterday, and again, this is SOHO. So there's SOHO right there. This is Earth. SOHO's right in front of us. SOHO does not orbit Earth. SOHO orbits the sun. Okay? It sits out in front of Earth, and here's its orbital path. Now, technically, I think it moves slower than what the Earth does, but it still takes it 365 days to orbit the sun. That's why it stays in front of us at all times. Now, they do turn that from time to time, look different places and things. It's caught a lot of sun divers and sun grazers. It's a really cool thing that, it's been a really good benefit to be able to, kind of study that, the sun divers, and it's kind of led into some more things there. So, and I think it caught a lot more than what they thought it would. But we look at SOHO to give us our perspective from where we're standing. But there's an issue with that. And let me show you what that issue is. It's this thing, this occulter. That has to be there. That's a necessary evil. It has to block the main light of the sun, because if you don't, the imaging gets overexposed, just blasted with light, and you can't get any imaging at all. So that has to be there. Now, because that's there, we cannot, that's a physical disc. It's on the camera. So we can't see what's on the other side of that, not directly. So when things are fired off the sun, when you get that halo signature that kind of pops out around the whole occulter, we don't know if it's coming at us or going right off the back, just because of our point of view, our perspective. Okay? So how do we know? Well, there's a couple different things, and we used to be able to do this. Stereo A. It was over here. We had a side view and even a partial backside view of the sun. That satellite has outlived its lifespan. It's still in operation, but it's hanging out over here. Okay, it's not out here anymore. So we kind of lost our side view. But we can still tell because we can go look at SDO. And this is where the confusion came in, I think. Okay? SDO is in geosynchronistic orbit. Okay? And I'll explain what that is in a second. This is SOHO. It's not. It's orbiting the sun. They're two different satellites. So as we look at this, I'm going to take you down here. You have to take in consideration the Earth is tilted at 23.3 or 23.4 degrees. That's what allows us to have seasons. So when this satellite does this figure 8 pattern and it orbits the Earth at 15 degrees an hour, just like we rotate around our axis at 15 degrees an hour, it stays over the same part of the planet. Okay? But when this is on the back side, when this is on the night side and the sun's on the other side of the Earth, because of that tilt, they do this figure 8 pattern. There's a few reasons for this, but it minimizes the amount of days that the Earth has a chance of going in between the satellite and the sun. That tilt helps with that. Okay? So the line of sight is what I'm talking about here. Okay? So when this satellite's on the night side of the planet, its eye is rotated, always rotating to look at the sun. So we do have an eclipse season for SDO, and so there's two of them a year, and I'm not going to get into exactly what that is, what dates those are, but they tell you, you can come over here to SDO and check it out for yourself, okay? Come on, load up, would you? Wow, this thing ain't gonna load. Okay, well, oh, there it goes. Okay, so if I grab this, it's not showing us anything. Or is it? Yeah, this is supposed to be moving. I don't know what's going on with this movie tool. So we're just going to kind of skip that. But if the sun was up here, the satellite's back here, it can still see the sun because of the tilt of the planet. All right? So that's kind of what I wanted to clarify. I get a lot of questions about that, and I do address this often, but maybe I don't address it often enough. I don't know. But it always stays in that position. So I hope that clarifies for who had that question. Again, SEEDS is just a website that shows us LASCO C2, right? But we can also look at that same imaging here at ISWA. Okay, it's not the satellite's website. This is SOHO. Everybody can access this, okay? And different websites, different schools will bring it in and post it on their websites and things like that. We're only allowed to look at this stuff because our tax dollars pay for it. That's a benefit, you know. So anyway, um, let's talk more about this blast now. Now, like, hopefully that clarified some things there, guys. Um, if you guys still have questions about that, please let me know. All right. I'm serious. Please let me know. Now, as we get moving here, I'm not going to be looking at the chat a whole lot. I'm trying to stay focused, and I'll look at the chat at the end. But thank you guys for putting up with my squirrelness here lately. I am really trying to do all that, and I'm getting better. And it's going to get even better, guys, when I start memberships up this coming week. I'll be able to share more with you guys there and be a little bit more laid back than what I am right here. So I do appreciate it, but I'm not going to apologize for being who I am, okay? But I do recognize I do squirrel too much, okay? So just know that, and thank you guys for putting up with me on that end of it. So anyway, actually Tommy was working with me on that quite a bit when I was co-hosting the Lifeboat. I had a hard time focusing. He gave me some tips like putting post-it notes on my computer and all that, and it worked. So it does help. He's a very good public speaker. So anyway, so this blast will hit. See, I just scrolled again. Gunslinger even put it in the comment section. He just put squirrel. I love it. Anyway, so you got this blast, and it is hitting. It's going to hit Mercury if it hadn't already. I think it probably has already reached Mercury. And this happens a lot. The sun hits Mercury a lot. And again, there's a lot of reasons for that. But the main reason is its proximity to the sun, obviously. Okay? And then you got, all the magnetic effects and everything else. And then you can even heighten that when there's more planetary alignments. Now, if I was to expand this out and look out further in the solar system, because this just takes us out to Mars, right? Jupiter looks like it's going to get hit with this thing too. And we oftentimes think, once the CME's past us, it's done, right? Technically for us, it really kind of is, because the effects after that are pretty minimal. But with the hitting other planets and things like that, we kind of forget that all those planets are still out there, and yes, the sun hits them too. The sun's the reason why Mercury doesn't have an atmosphere anymore. Okay? That's why Mars. That's why Mars looks the way that it does. That's why it's so dangerous to send people out there. But anyway, let me just say this, that when these things line up, especially when Jupiter is involved, it most definitely affects the kind of CMEs we get, the kind of eruptions that just blast off the sun. If you get 4 or 5 planets lining up, you can almost guarantee there's going to be some sort of eruption from the sun going that direction. Now, that's not speaking to the strength of the eruption. It could be something that's not very big. It could be a whole lot of other things, right? So this is a top-down version, guys, of what we're looking at. I'm just using this CME tracker as a way to show you guys visually where the planets are at right now. So Earth is a yellow ball, right? Here's Mercury. That blast yesterday from that filament eruption went right at Mercury. It's going to take a direct hit. And again, if you were to follow that out, I think Jupiter might be over this way a little bit. But just like this CME here, see how it fans out as it goes out further from the sun? Same thing is true. The further out in our solar system, the wider it gets. Okay? So, it doesn't mean that Jupiter is directly lined up with Mercury. All it means is that the same CME is going to hit it. That's all that means. And I want to, I need to dig into this too. In order for this CME to get to Jupiter, it has to cross the asteroid belt. I've always been curious on what that does. I don't know. I really don't. So I'm just kind of, you know, shooting from the hip there. I don't know what kind of effects it can have on those kinds of things, because it is kind of far out from the sun. It's not like right next to the sun like Mercury. But I would be interested to see, you know, if there's any science or any kind of studies done on that, how CMEs affect the asteroid belt. I would imagine it's pretty minimal, but you know, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I need to dig into that. But as you got Mercury right here at blast off, this blast you're looking at right here is from a flare. We had another flare. The sun has become very active. Okay, that blast yesterday, it actually started the day before. From my previous video, I showed you guys that a very similar filament eruption in the southern hemisphere of the sun. So, and we'll take a look at that in a second, but the sun's getting more active again. These things are going to be rotating in, and we also have, it's flaring, and that's what gave us the radio blackouts, okay? And let me show you the flare. There's actually two of them. Well, here's the sunspots, okay? Now, this is actually kind of a basic, it looks pretty benign for a sunspot. And what I mean by that is you don't have a whole lot of intermixing of the magnetic fields, okay? Remember, you got negative and positive, and they're represented by blue and red on this particular model. And this is SDO, okay? It's just a model they use. It's a colorized magnetogram is what it is, if you want to know the technical name. I try not to throw word salad at you, but that's what it's called. Okay, so you can see the cores, right? Now we can look at it in the black and white version too. We just don't have the, you know, the color to show us magnetic polarity. But this is the same sunspot, okay? So if we go back over here, you don't have these things intermingling a whole lot. So when you get the magnetic fields, you know, dancing around each other, getting ready to blast here, blast there, blast everywhere, right? Yeah. When they don't do that, we kind of let our guard down, right? So when we see it looking like this, we don't really expect a whole lot. Well, guess what? Well, it's like I say all the time. The sun can do what it wants, when it wants, and how it wants to do it. And that's exactly what it did. So let me show you. Sorry, I'm using a computer trackpad right now. My wife's in the other room doing homework. She's in college right now. She's went back to school. I'm very proud of her. Honey, if you're listening to this, I love you. I'm very proud of you. Thank you for sticking by me through all my stupidness. Anyway, without her, I wouldn't be here, guys. And that is not a lie. My best friend, so blessed. Anyway, so this is an R2 radio blackout caused by this flare. It was an M7 flare, which is fairly close to an X flare. Okay, right here. Now, it was impulsive. Okay, but there was a secondary flare that wasn't quite as impulsive. It didn't quite get to M class range, but you can see the flare here. And and again, we had R2 radio blackout on the day side of the planet, right here. It hit over the Atlantic Ocean, kind of like where the South Atlantic anomaly is. But yeah, so with that being said, you know what? Hold on one second, guys. Okay, I'm back. Thank you, Steven. I really appreciate you. Stephanie, thanks for being here. Oh, come on, guys. Tell me. Quit doing that. Right? I'm sorry, guys. I really am trying not to do that. I struggle. I just like connecting with you guys, and that's why. But I'll connect after I give you all the space weather. Okay? Hopefully we can compromise on that. So if we're looking at this is GOES. This is a different satellite. I'm not going to go over exactly what this thing does. Sometimes when you come over here, it'll say GOES 16, and other times it'll say GOES 18. There's two satellites that they use. When we didn't used to have 18 out there. They put that one in orbit a few years back. But GOES 16 has been up there, obviously, because of the number longer. But we get the same kind of imaging, right? This is an extreme ultraviolet imager, okay? But what else does GOES 16 do? Well, the GOES satellite system that they've got up there, almost every satellite pic you get for your local weather, most of them are using the GOES network, okay? So most of those GOES satellites are pointed at our planet. So that, it's kind of an interesting fact there. But as you can see here, guys, we got a coronal hole kind of opening up here. And again, that one there just erupted. I don't know how big it is. It's kind of hard to tell on this angstrom of light. This is the 195, which is very similar to the 193 that I show you guys often. Now they can make this any color they wanted. We can't see this angstrom of light with our eyes. Our eyes physically cannot see this part of the light spectrum. Okay, we see very little of the light spectrum, just so everybody understands that. But we look at different ones to see different gases, and it gives us different visuals, and we get a better look and understanding visually what the sun is doing and how it works. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys the background X-ray absorption. I don't think this is going to go back far enough. Let's see. Oh, man, we just missed it. Nope, there it is. That's the second flare, okay? That's the second flare right there. The first flare actually hit right here, just behind that, a few hours before that one. And it did go red like a big bullseye. And it wasn't R2. It was a fairly powerful flare when we're taking in consideration the X-rays. That's how they measure the flares, okay? You can see how close it got to an X flare. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at here, guys. It is most definitely something that we need to, be watching. This sunspot could do it again. So here's that flare, and what I'm going to do is this. Again, guys, I'm using a trackpad. I hate using this stupid trackpad. I might try to grab my mouse. Hold on one second, guys. I like those, the optical mice. I don't know what you call it. What's the proper vocab there? But these optical mouses, you don't have to have like a mouse pad. You can just put it on whatever surface. Anyway, so we got this, and let me back this up. This is the 131. Now remember, this is SDO, the one that's in geosynchronistic orbit. This is the 131 part of the light spectrum. So there's that X flare. Not X flare, but M flare. Now, I know I'm going to explain this too. This looks like an X, right? That's not why they call them X flares. Just so you guys understand that. But yeah. Are we still 5 for 5 in there, guys? Somebody give me a 5 for 5 in there. Okay. Hey, Valerie. Glad you're here. All right. Hopefully I can earn your subscription. How about that? I hope you stick around. We're a family here. Okay. Now, that's what the sun looked like back in 2020. That's during solar minimum. But guess what? It still does stuff in solar minimum. There's a lot of science to back up the fact that sometimes a lot of people think that if we take a big blast during solar minimum, that it could be more dangerous for us. There's a lot of science behind it. I'm not really sure where I fall. I kind of see both sides of that. But and the main reason is we have to have a certain amount of geomagnetic activity hanging around to help us block stuff that's coming from the sun. And I say this a lot. The sun helps protect us from the sun. We need that balance. We need that right here on the geomagnetic activity, the KP index. That's just the measure that they use for geomagnetic activity. A KP of 5 is a G1 storm, and so forth. It goes all the way up to G5. Obviously, there's bigger ones than that, but they stop that there. But what we want is kind of like what we're seeing right now. You see this? It's hanging around between, I guess roughly about a 2. The range here is 0 to 4 right now. But a 2 is actually pretty good. It helps us block stuff if something does come at us. And it's not like excessive, like a G5 storm, right? So we want that balance. Now during solar minimum, when the sun looks like oh goodness. When it looks like that, during those times we got to be concerned with cosmic rays, because we don't have as much geomagnetic activity. Now I'm going to stop this right here. You see this? Look at just the atmosphere. Even on this one, you can see it really well. The atmosphere here, the corona of the sun, is definitely not as pronounced during solar minimum. That's because it's just not as active. Now, if I take you up here to the 171, see the difference there? That's a huge difference. So I like showing that to you guys because that's a question I get a lot. What can we expect during these things and all that? Okay, so again, this is the 131. Now let me, I'm going to take this forward a little bit because I want you guys to watch right here. Give it a second. It's got to roll through. Ah, daggone it. Went the wrong way. Sorry, I got to back it up, guys. Sorry. Now, did you guys see that? I think that was that second flare. Okay? But you see what happened here? That flared, and you can see the magnetic connection line. All those highly charged particles, plasma, traveled on that line. Okay, so here's the second flare. Okay, it looks like that popped the CME. That's probably what we're seeing over on the CME tracker at NASA. Okay, that's probably that one I just showed you guys on that one model there. We back this up some more. Hopefully it'll make it here. Come on, there it went. Okay. Watch this right here. I found this really interesting. Check this out. Now, I'm going to stop there for a second, too. I want you guys to follow me here, okay? Because this is interesting in the fact that we see how different parts of the sun can influence the other parts of the sun. Watch right here. I'm going to take it frame by frame. See it get bright right there? Watch it move this direction. You see that? So we got a little bit of a disturbance here. Then it goes here. Then it goes here. Then what did it do? It went here. See that? Now that's just a washout because the camera got blasted with that X-ray. Too much light. It couldn't handle it. So let's take a look at this in a different angstrom. This is the 94 angstrom, and again, it's just a different gas. I will say this: Ben over at Suspicious Observer did a video last week explaining what gases each one of these are representing. I would highly suggest you guys go there and check it out. It's really he does a way better job of explaining things short and concise than what I do. And obviously, he's way more educated. I'm not, yeah. That's way above my pay grade. That's what I'll say. But I want to show you guys this right here. Again, 94 angstrom. Now you see how it disturbed everything here. When you see that happening, typically it means that it did produce a CME also. Because remember, a flare and a CME are two different things. They're not the same. They oftentimes happen at the same time, or one will cause the other. Now, you see that? Watch up here. See it kind of get active right there, and you can literally see it travel down. See that? It's pretty cool. I mean, it's really cool when we see these because it helps me be able to explain things better to you and helps everybody understand exactly what's going on and how these things can happen. Oftentimes we'll get these big blasts over here or anywhere on the sun, and then 180 degrees the other way, you'll get another blast. Happens a lot. Now, it could be big, it could be small, but it typically will see one, especially when there's a big eruption like we did yesterday. And we did. We got that big eruption over here, and where did it flare? Over here. Now, it was a good time frame, good amount of time passed between the two events, so it might not have been related in that aspect, but we did have a couple of disturbances that didn't really register big flares. So, but this is the 94 angstrom view. Now, I want to show you guys this one too, the 304. Well, we can look at the 211, I guess. The 211 here will show you a lot of atmospheric disturbances, is what I call them. You'll see the corona react more on this angstrom. Okay, so watch right here. You'll see it kind of. See that? And this is one of the ways we can tell where these things are going, because we don't have that side view anymore, okay? So if we can see what part of the sun actually fired, we get a pretty good idea of where things are at. And obviously we can use the models that they have too, and the trackers. But sometimes they don't update those like we would like them to as quick. So, you know, sometimes we roll without that, you know? But this is the 304. This is ionized helium. We see filaments really well in this angstrom of light. Okay? Now remember, the big eruption was over here. Let's see where we're at as far as placement here. Actually, let's just take this thing back. Yeah, we're not going to see the big one here on this one. But I want to show you this one. So we had another big eruption down here on the backside. Guys, we're going to have to pay close attention to this stuff rotating in. Okay, because I'm telling you right now, that blast yesterday would have significantly impacted us. Okay, and when I say significantly, I'm not saying grid down. Okay, I'm just saying it would have been something we really would have to watch, because I do 100% think that we would have seen some sort of electrical issues in regions across our planet, depending on where it hit, the timing, and all that. Again, I don't think it would have been grid down, but I can't even say, I don't know, right? It's on the backside, so it's kind of hard to tell. So we had another eruption over here, and when you start seeing these things just erupt everywhere, it gets hard to tell what direction these things are going, all of that. But, so this is the filament, the dark shadows. And we'll take it to the flare. See that? Now this one, we'll be able to see it really react here. Okay? So let me back it up. Now, there was another eruption that looks to be on the backside too. Okay? So, yeah. Now, again, watch right here when this flare happens. I want you guys to notice everything around here is getting disturbed. See that? See how this lit up? You can see it light up like a, I don't know, a picture of the Earth from space. All the city lights and stuff. It's kind of what it looks like. Watch. See that? And it's just excited particles, right? It's highly charged particles on those magnetic connection lines, and they're moving, okay? And then there's that second flare. And I do think that this may have been that CME, but one of them, that one I showed you guys, and I'll show it to you again, does look like it's going to hit us, okay? Looks like we might get a side blow from that thing. So let's take a look at that real quick before we go any further. So here that is, and you can see, this is our, that's the top-down view. This is the side cut, which allows us to know north-south. This is the view we would get from stereo A, just looking at our planet from the side. That's, you know, that does kind of explain why we would really want that. You know what I mean? Because we can't tell north-south. We don't know what's behind that occulter disk on SOHO. So anyway, this is our orbital line stretched out in a straight line. So all three of these axes are showing a hit. Now, it doesn't look to be massively strong. Doesn't look to be very dense. Okay? And it's not moving all that fast. So impacts from this, maybe G1. Maybe. I wouldn't see us getting anything bigger than that. Maybe a G2 on the upper end of things. But again, that's just an opinion, okay? Does not mean that's what's going to happen. NOAA hasn't updated for this CME yet, okay? What do I mean by that? For those that don't know, this is the same model, but NOAA adds different data points, and they take certain ones into consideration more than others. So the models don't match, okay? This hasn't updated since, let's see here, late in the day on the 6th. So yeah. By the way, this right here, remember I told you that CME got fired off, and that coronal hole stream kind of helped steer it. Well, we did not get a geomagnetic storm out of that. Okay, the geomagnetic storm watch has been canceled. Now, if it's moving slower than what they thought, I guess it could still hit. But at this moment, and Dr. Tony Phillips, I think, talks about it here. Yeah, see, it was supposed to hit us on the 9th, and it didn't. So, yeah, that it's not hitting us. And even if it does, we're not even going to know it. Okay? But here's that bigger eruption from yesterday, too, guys. Dr. Tony Phillips is talking about it also. That's spaceweather.com. Guys, go check them out. Okay, so let's check out the 10th. This is SOHO again. All right, you can still see. Oh, see that? I'm going to show you something. Wait till the end of this. Here we go. See that? That's a partial halo. When we see that, you see how it's even shaded out this way? All the way out that far? Back it up. You guys can see it better as it moves, I think. So yeah, I do think that we got an Earth-directed component of one of those eruptions. And that would be looking to hit us in probably 3 to 4 days probably. Right around 3 days. Okay, there's the big eruption from yesterday. See how dense that was? I mean, it's just a very impressive eruption. But again, guys, this one here, there's one there. And then that's probably the one that might be giving us a hit. Okay? So like I said, guys, we look for the halo signature. And all it means is, visually, it looks like it's poking around the whole occulter disk. Okay. Now remember, the white circle here is the surface. So the outside of this Coulter disk is not the surface of the sun. All right. So let me back that up, son. There you go with that. It's just blasting everywhere, guys. It really is. I mean, the sun's getting active again. Very active. I mean, it's really been active for a while now. We've had some lull times, but not a whole lot of them. So let's take a look at the 171. I haven't looked at this one yet. Let me back this up a little bit, and we'll go forward now here. Yeah, we're not going to see a whole lot of action going on this one. Sometimes you don't see a whole lot, but it does show the corona really well in that angstrom. Okay, here's our magnetosphere, okay? This is what we use to gauge how we're getting hit by solar weather, okay, or space weather. This is velocity. This is our bow shock, the first point of contact between Earth's magnetic field and solar wind, okay, or CMEs, stuff coming from the sun. Sun's off to the left, things move from left to right, right? So our magnetic field deflects. And that's exactly what it's doing here, and it's doing a good job. This is just velocity. Nothing else. It ain't showing you density or anything like that. It is showing you just the speed of the particles, okay? It's important to know because sometimes you'll come over here and they'll look like this bow shock is gone. It's not gone. It just means that all the particles in that area are moving at the same speed. This is density. Same thing applies. This is only showing you density. Okay? Notice how you get like a secondary bow shock here. All right? You get a bow shock here, first point of contact, and what it does is it slows things down a little bit, and it makes it become more dense in between the next part of our magnetic field here. Okay? In between that part and our bow shock, we always see an extra, a little layer of dense particles. Okay? And that's what you're seeing. That's why it's like that. This is Earth, though, so I mean, everything's getting deflected away at the moment. Okay? This is magnetic pressure. It is what it is. Everybody understands pressure, so apply that to what you're seeing here, and we're not seeing a whole lot. So nothing a whole lot's going on at our planet at the moment. Now, Mercury, like I said, guys, they're getting hit. It's probably already been hit. That thing was moving fast. Now, I don't know how much we're going to know about that. I'm going to be digging into that a little bit more, but I know a lot of people have actually been talking about it. So, it'd be interesting to see what that kind of a blast is, you know, what the sun's capable of on a blast like that in recent time, okay? Mercury's been hit so much, guys. I mean, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying, this is a significant eruption in this sun cycle. And I would even say this. I would say that this eruption that we just had probably rivals one of the biggest eruptions of the sun cycle. Okay? That's how significant that one is. So what I'm saying is, if that thing was coming at us, again, we're having a different discussion. And it's probably not going to be a fun discussion. I'm not scared about it, and I wouldn't be if it was coming at us. We're aware. We're not scared here. Okay? So I'll just say that. Now, again, I do think we would have issues from that. I do think we would probably see some transformer issues, some false alarms of safe mode security stuff for electrical things, tripping off, all that kind of thing, right? But I don't think, and it's my opinion, it would be grid down. So I always say that because people get a little, and rightfully so, they get a little nervous unless you know exactly what's going on, right? I mean, so yeah, so he's talking about it over here too. Let's see here. That thing was 500,000 kilometers wide. That's wide, guys. That's not the widest we've seen, but it's definitely a wide one. Yeah. Wow. Okay, now I seen this too, and I'm going to read this. I don't typically do this, but I want you guys, please go over here and click on this hyperlink right here and learn more about what I'm getting ready to say. Okay? They've got to do research, and it shows that eruptions like this could ignite X-ray auroras at ground level on Mercury's rocky surface. On the surface, aurora. Okay? So that's the kind of blast this is. Now remember, Mercury does not have an atmosphere or a magnetic field like we do. Okay? It's a completely different thing. Its proximity to the sun has caused it to do certain things, and and we're not going to dig into that right now, but that blast is powerful enough that it's going to hit Mercury at such a way, and it's going to be powerful enough to put aurora at the surface on that planet. That, my friends, is amazing. That amazes me. I really think that that's a very cool thing. I'll just say this. If you guys ever walk out your front door and you see aurora across the street, you might want to go back inside for a while. Oh man. Yeah. As beautiful as it would be, wow. That would mean we were getting hit with some massive stuff. In other words, our atmosphere is going to be ripped away probably on a blast like that, if we're going to see aurora on the surface. But anyway, now, what can we expect from a G1 storm? Not a whole lot, guys. I don't think we're even going to get there. So, but we're going to have to wait and watch and see what this thing does. And we're going to see wait on NOAA to give us the official forecast. Now, you guys know I nowcast here. I don't forecast. And the reason why, look at this. They haven't updated this for a couple days, and it is the weekend. These guys go home just like everybody else, okay? So I get it. But they get this particular model over here at NOAA gives us 2 days historic data and 5 days forecast. Now, if more data comes in, and it will, and it always does, they will come in here and change this so it's accurate as it gets closer to us. But I do not trust the 5-day forecast out this far. It is never correct. Sometimes they get lucky and it is. Sometimes it's closer than others. But for me, I'm going to wait till 2 days. I won't go, if I'm going to say, hey, something might be coming, unless it's a CME where you got a range of 2 to 5 days, I'm going to be only going 1 to 2 days out because I just think it's the best thing to do. And I think we can have patience with this stuff, guys. Okay? We need patience because every time I've jumped out here and didn't have patience and thought something was going to be, a big deal, I've only been right when I've done that twice. And I've probably done it a handful, maybe 8 or 9 times. Jumped out here real quick, but I got it wrong the other times. So I quit doing that. I had to learn a little bit of patience. CMEs are not going to hit that quick. If the CME is going to get here in 12 hours or less, you're not going to be trying to talk to me. I promise. Okay? Just saying. So I got time to be able to let the data come in and give you guys a more accurate report of what's going on. Okay? So that's why I do that. Now I will come out like I did yesterday and show you something that happened, but I'm not going to tell you guys, hey, this is going to be the result of this. I'm going to wait to give that kind of information out. Just me showing you an event is way different than me, saying this is going to happen, guys, go do this, go do that, all that. Because the person that does that is only right one time. The other times, guess what? They got to keep moving the goalpost. And, In my opinion, that's just the wrong way to do things. I think you lose credibility and your integrity comes into question, because then you have to sit there and ask, well, why are you even doing this for, right? Are you just out here sensationalizing and all that kind of stuff? And I try to keep my stuff to a minimum. I get excited about this stuff, guys. I really, truly do. So when you hear me get excited, I'm really excited. I like watching this stuff. That's just who I am. Okay? Oh, and by the way, guys, I am feeling a little bit better. You hear it? I'm not not coughing. So, but yeah. So, now, I'm going to look to the chat, guys. You guys got any questions? I'm just going to play this so you guys got something to look at. Hopefully, I answered the questions from the chat, from the comment section. Guys, please come back and leave a comment. It helps get the live stream out. It really does. You guys have been doing a great job. My mods are doing a stellar job. Just reminding people to leave a like. You know, right now we got what? We got 213 likes. 214. I'd like to see that thing get to 250 in, like, I don't know, next couple minutes here. So if you haven't hit it, guys, please do. Or hit the dislike if you don't like the video. For real, I'm serious. Well, thank you, Trish. Good to see you. Hope you and your hubby's all right. Linda. Apple pie bong. Need caramel vanilla ice cream. Maybe some pecans could be. Hey, I like that. Well, thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. Just because of your guys', you know, I'm telling you, I think prayer works, guys. That's me. But if that's not your thing, thoughts and good thoughts and all that kind of stuff, that works too. Essentially, we have to stay positive. I do believe we can make ourselves sick, but I also do believe that we can, you know, influence how well we heal and how fast, no matter what you believe. You know, it's just me. Hilly, I'm not even going to read that. That'll get this video demonetized. I almost read it. You almost got me. Wow. Hey, Smitty. Thank you, Butterfly. Appreciate you. Wharton. What's up? No, it's okay. You can say whatever you want. And you can type it in whatever you want in that chat. I don't really care about that. I had to catch myself. I about started to read your comment. Everybody tell Butterfly, hey, that wrench looks good in her hand. She's our newest mod. Guys, do me a favor. Give me a roll call in there in the chat, if you would. Just your regional area. I don't need to know exactly where you're at. Hey, Daryl. Maine girl. Well, there you are. You're in Maine. It's good to see you. Bong. Okay, yeah. Virginia's in the house. Stephen A. Heck yeah. Andrea. Oh, yeah. Dolores. Auroras do not come down into our desert here. Cascade Mountains and Blue Mountains seem to block everything. Aurora, guys, that's a good comment, and it's also a good way for me to explain what happens with that. When auroras happen, they typically will happen around our poles. They're very high up in our atmosphere. They're higher up than any mountain chain. Okay? They're in the ionosphere. Okay? So, in that layer. And they can come down deeper. Okay? But they're highly charged particles that come from a CME or a solar wind stream. They come into our system on our poles typically. Okay? The harder hits, sometimes the cracks will open up and it will let it in whatever the crack is, wherever the crack's at. That'll happen with some of the bigger eruptions. But the auroras are produced at the poles mainly because the particles come in, they start interacting with oxygen and nitrogen, all the different kinds of molecules out there. And different types of molecules, when they get excited, when they're going back to their stable state, they will produce a color. So oxygen typically will give you green. Now they can produce other colors during other situations. Nitrogen will give you red. But again, you could get red stuff without nitrogen too. So that's just kind of like a baseline. But they happen on our poles because of our magnetic field. Okay? You got to think what we're talking about here. Charged particles, plasma. You got solid, liquid, gas, plasma. Those are the 4 states of matter, right? And plasma just got added, years back, but it hasn't always been there. Plasma is a charged gas. It's a gas that has a charge. That's it. So because it has a charge like that, it can be drawn in by the opposite polarity. Okay? So on our North Pole, whatever sun cycle we're in or what have you, depending on what's going on, North and South Pole will draw in different particles. So and that's why it comes in there first. It's magnetics. Okay? So it interacts with the particles in our atmosphere there as it gets drawn in. So that's why we see it on the poles mainly. So anyway, I just wanted to explain that. Linda! Alberta, Canada, awesome. Love my Canucks. Hey, Ripper. That's such a great comment. I'm going to read it. Hey, Aaron, thank you so much for all the support you've been throwing me. I really do appreciate it. I can't tell you guys enough. Hey, Aaron, he's really been supporting a lot. And I really, truly do appreciate it. He even comes back and gives me super thanks. That's the thing, guys. You can come back and leave it's like a super chat, but you do it in the comment section under a video. But I just want to shout you out there, Ron, because you really have been, supporting me a lot, and I really do appreciate it. It really does help. So I'm going to read Ripper's comment here. Nothing better than having a problem or emergency event or even just something little. And because you were informed and or prepared, you feel good and secure and safe, and that is a good thing. That's such a great comment, and it applies to everything we do here, or even in life. If you're prepared, not even prepared, we want to be prepared. I prep, just like most people here do, at least a little bit, but we want to have the awareness, because that awareness eliminates the fear. Because most of our fear will come from the unknown. So if we're not in that space of the unknown, like 90% of our population, when bad things happen, we make better decisions. We're not just out there trying to figure out what the heck is going on, right? So yeah. Good to see you, Andrea. Stephen A, baby. Mama Bear is in the house. George is in the house. Heck yeah. Daryl's in the house. I think I missed your guys' roll call there. Your locations. But yeah, guys. Back at you. Guys, you guys need to get over and check out his channel too. Ripper, drop your link, man. Hilly, drop your link too. Guys, you guys you both run really great channels. You guys are, Christians, or if you're not Christians, you can go over and check out Hilly's Bible study that he does. He will do live streams, not just for Bible study either. He does that on Saturdays, but he does some live streams in between there also. And Ripper has one of the best prepping channels on the net, in my opinion. He was at a sportsman show this past week and was sharing some of that stuff, and some of the stuff he shared was really, really interesting. So please go check him out too. So, yeah. All right, guys. I think I'm going to go ahead and pop off. Thank you guys for hanging with me. I really do appreciate it. So, anybody that comes by and spends their precious time with me, I just can't say it enough. Mods, love you. Everybody else, Kool-Aid Krew, love you. We're going to be starting the memberships up this week, and I will be calling it the Kool-Aid Krew, and hopefully you guys like that. So, anyway, guys, God bless. Yahusha saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.